Welcome to Hockey Inside Out. My name is Adam Susser. I'm your host. Let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about on this week's episode. Number 1, we ask our experts to compare this year's version of the Habs 6 games in to last year's team. Number 2, out of Weber, Shaw, and Radulov, which offseason signing are you most impressed by? Number 3, do you think the Habs will eventually get around to improving their power play? Just wondering. And number 4, what should the Canadiens do with Mikhail Sergachev? Let's meet the panel. He wrote a new theme song for the show that he wanted to premiere for us. Go ahead, Stu, the floor is yours.
Everyone loves Adam.
That's it, that's the one. I love it. Stu Cowan's here today. This man has been writing for the Gazette since the 1930s. That's older than my grandparents. Mr. Mike Boone is here with us. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, stop, you crazy monkey. My sides are aching.
I don't think you thought that was funny. She attended Monday night's Bell Center game, and when I asked her what her favorite part of the game was, she just looked at me and said, 2 words, Mexican egg wraps. Yeah, pretty sure that's 3 words, Andie. CBC Daybreak columnist Andie Bennett is here. 6 games into the regular season, the Montreal Canadiens are tied for first in the NHL in goals per game and goals allowed, and remain the only team left without a regulation time loss. That's it. We're winning the cup. If you believe in fate, luck, and everything else, then you know that there's no way the Habs can be plagued with the same depth of misfortune that they endured last season. As the show's resident optimist, I'll argue that the adversity the Habs faced last year will actually benefit the team this year. That sentiment was alluded to by Alex Galchenyuk when speaking to the media after last Friday's practice, when he said that the team is hungrier now because they weren't as consistent last year. Adversity makes you stronger. On paper, the Canadiens were very good last season, but the changes that they made during the summer made them even stronger. But most important of all, that energy, where the team looks like they're just out there having fun, has returned. 6 games into the regular season, how would you compare this year's version of the Montreal Canadiens to last year's version of the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, last year's team was better. They were 6-0.
That's true.
But if you listen to Coach Michel Therrien, he keeps... Dale Weiss was saying that PK Subban wasn't a problem in the room with the players, but I think with Michel Therrien, he keeps pointing out how the leadership and how they're playing the right way and how they're doing this and how they're doing that. So Michel Therrien is the happiest guy in Montreal right now. The team's winning, playing the way he wants them to play, and so far everything's looked good.
And Max Pacioretty says the same thing. I mean, sometimes I always think it's this veiled kind of attack on PK Subban. It's hard not to listen to some of their comments and think like, okay, we get it. Everybody's playing for the team, not just for each other. We understand what you mean by that. But yeah, look, they had a great start last year. Numbers-wise, when you compare the two, they're very similar to where they are right now. But when you look at the makeup and the internal leadership that they have, that was a huge problem last year. And we saw that. You have guys in there now like Shaw, the character of Shaw and Weber, and that can only help when they are facing adversity. But look, the secret to their success is going to be a more successful special teams for sure. That was, and obviously not having injuries to many key players on the team.
Yeah, the secret to their success is going to be keeping Carey Price healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah, keeping him standing up.
That's the operative comparison between the two teams, because last year they scooted off to what, 9-0 before the difficulties began.
Franchise record.
So let's wait a little while. I think the personnel is an upgrade. I'm more of a Weber fan than a Subban fan. That may make me a minority in Montreal, but we shall see.
Well, one thing I've noticed just being in the room every day at practice and after games and that is that Max Pacioretty is still there, but he's not there all the time like he was last year. Last year, after every practice, after every game, he was always there. And I think it's a good thing that the focus isn't as much on him now. They'll have Shea Weber there, they'll have Brendan Gallagher there more often. They have Gallagher sitting closer to Max. So I think the Canadiens have while Max is still a captain, they've tried to not shelter him, but try and spread it around a little bit.
Well, it can't be one guy, right? I mean,
I admire Max. Max was there every game last year.
Yeah, but it's almost always the captain. I mean, how often did Saku Koivu speak after every single game?
But different personalities, though, I think, with Saku and Max. And I think it's a good thing that Max is now, maybe not, the spotlight's not always on him now when people come in the room.
Do you feel that there's a character shift, like the team character is stronger this year?
Well, when you're winning, everything's good, right? I mean, the team character was great last year when they were 6-0 with PK on the team. Everything was fantastic. Everything was lovely. So, I mean, every team's going to go through a bad stretch, and that's when we're going to see. But having said that, again, I think the leadership, and the leadership thing, you know, people read between the lines about PK Subban. I don't think the leadership problem was PK Subban. I think there just wasn't, when Carey Price went down, they missed him as a leader as much, if not more, as a goalie. And now with Shea Weber and Andrew Shaw and these other guys who have leadership qualities with them, now I think there is more of a better leadership group in the room.
And I think you make a good point about that adversity helping the team, because of course, I mean, any relationship, you know, outside of sports even, that's when you really build the strength of a relationship, is when things are going badly. And they had to do that last year. They still had to get through all that, through all the, you know, you can say whatever you want if PK Subban was a problem in the room or not. They still had to go through a very difficult time piling up losses, you know, so many rumors flying around, and a lot of those guys went through that, are still together in that room. Plus, you got a guy like Alex Radulov who's in there with that toothless smile every day. I mean, how can you?
I was wondering, I was saying to people, if you imagine PK and Radulov in the same room together, now that would have been a lot of fun to watch.
How are you going to stay down when you got that guy running around?
Now, out of the big off-season acquisitions, Radulov, Weber, and Shaw, who impresses you the most?
Weber.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How come?
Just because PK isn't there anymore, and they need, in the style of hockey that Terrien favors, and with the best goaltender in the league, if not the world, I think you need an absolute stud on defense, and I think Weber supplies that, for me, to a greater degree than PK.
I'm going to say Radulov. I agree with what Mike's saying, but Weber is Weber. He's come exactly as advertised.
Yeah,
he's
that's
a steady,
true enough. Yeah.
big, solid defenseman. I don't, you know, plus 10 after 6 games. I don't know how many people thought that would be the case, and leading the team in scoring with 7 points. But Radulov was the question mark coming in here. I mean, he was being compared to Alexander Semin. He was being compared to all the other players that Bergeron's tried to bring in here. But Radulov is different, and I was skeptical when he first came here. Like most people, I remember, you know, missing curfew the night before a playoff game in Nashville. But when you're around this guy, he's just fun to be around. He's having a good time. There's nobody who seems to enjoy playing hockey more than him, and I think it rubs off on his teammates. And as you know, Michel Terrien says, he's all in. He keeps saying he's all in, and he says, you know, he's 100% at practice, 100% in pregame warm-up, and it'll be interesting to see if he can maintain that through the season. But he's just been a real nice surprise for this team.
And you have to guess he's all in at midnight, since he's married and has a child now. You know?
Well, he said he's a different man since he has a child. He's playing for his kid. But yeah, I do think the discussion's probably between Weber and Radulov. Yeah. I mean, Shaw, he's had some, you know, some not great moments with the team so far, and you know, hopefully he's going to be cleaning that up, which is what he says he wants to do. But I mean, for me, it's Radulov for the same reasons, you know, because especially the experiments that the Canadiens have had with these kind of troubled players that they bring in, that's really gone poorly the last couple times. So you're kind of had that nervousness with Radulov. But I mean, he's come in and been the new Radulov that everyone said he was.
There was a funny scene after practice the other day when Arpon Basso, our friend from NHL.com, asked Michel Terrien, what do you, like, can you give an example of what you mean when you say all in? And he says, come play poker with me and you'll know what all in means.
Okay.
Thanks, Michel, but I'm busy that night.
This point in the show, it's time for a segment. This is serious. Let's watch it. Las Vegas was recently awarded an NHL team. So as a gift on behalf of all Montrealers, I made up some really cool team names and logos for Las Vegas that they can have for free. All I have to do now is figure out which one is best. So I'm going to go around telling people that these are the official top 3 choices. And I guess the winner's yours. You're welcome, Vegas. Okay, I'm here with
Zora, Meg, Ivana.
Okay, here you go. Las Vegas crap shooters. What do you think about that one?
That's amazing. But no.
Oh, this sucks. That's ugly. The logo's not very good either, but the name is horrible.
Exactly.
Crap shooters? Wow. They shoot crap?
But the team name's pretty catchy though, no? The crap shooters?
Yeah, that's a good name. That suits the city.
So what you're saying is they should use this one.
Yeah, it'd be funny. It'd get a lot of attention.
Like everyone would cheer for them just for the name.
I like the crap this year. They're looking pretty good. That's what people will say. Okay.
Woo, crap shooters!
Crap shooters.
Okay. To celebrate their history as a mafia town, this is the Las Vegas Loan Sharks.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's badass. That's cool. That looks cool.
You like that, eh?
I like that. That's cool.
Kind of looks like Drake, actually. Yeah. I love Drake.
Who doesn't?
I prefer this one. This one's really classy.
Yeah, it's pretty classy.
It represents a vintage Las Vegas. You know how it used to be.
Yeah.
I like this one.
He's got the sweat beads dribbling down there he's ready to take his hat off. It's nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's really nice.
There you go. The Las Vegas Night Riders. You like it?
I think it's funny, actually. I think this is a good one, actually.
I love it.
They're Night Riders? That's her.
All right. Are you a Night Rider?
No.
Yep, she's asking for directions, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
She's probably giving directions, I
Probably
think.
giving directions.
This one is appealing, and yeah, appealing.
As of Wednesday morning, the Habs sit 19th in the league in power play production at a 16% success rate. This is pretty much on par with what they finished with last year, and they finished 25th in the league. In Tuesday night's win against Philadelphia, the team switched to 4 forwards, having Alexander Radulov replace Markov and join Weber on the first unit. This resulted in success Montreal Canadiens style, not scoring during the power play, but scoring immediately after the power play. God forbid they break the streak. This is one of the reasons they brought in Kirk Muller during the offseason. Will he be the answer to their PP problem? Will the Habs improve the power play this season? What do you think? Can Muller fix the PP?
It's going to take a little while, I think. We're 6 games into the season. He's
Yeah, it's a
already
work in
already
progress.
done something that Terry refused to do in previous years, which is put a forward on the point. And Radulov, when you're watching the game, watch Radulov when he's on the point. He doesn't just stay there. He's not stationary. He darts in, he darts out, he moves. He tries to break up the box of the 4 guys killing the penalty. So I think that's going to really help. And I think the more. It's been a while. Radulov said he hadn't played the point since back in Russia, so it's going to take a while for that to gel, but I think when it does, that's really, really going to help this power play.
And they still scored 4 seconds after the power play, so that's something.
Yeah.
I think opposing team penalty killers tend to overplay the point as well because they're not getting much from their down low players. I think the key, provided he remains on the first power play unit, will be Galchenyuk picking up his game in general, but in the power play in particular.
And face-offs also. They've been struggling on face-offs,
At
too.
least it's something new and different. I mean, that power play was just struggling, and you kept seeing the same thing over and over and over again. So I do think Kirk Muller will have a big effect on the power play, because when he was in charge of the power play a few years ago, they had one of the best power plays in the league. And yes, the personnel is different, but he's innovative. He's not afraid to go outside the box and try different things. And when you got a guy like Weber who can just shatter a guy's stick off a shot, you have that point shot in Weber, and you see a lot more movement, a lot more creativity I've seen already in the power play. So I think they're getting their chances, and eventually it'll start going.
What Radulov was saying with Muller wants him to shoot the puck. Shoot the puck and
Yeah.
get traffic in front and move. I mean, it was so stationary in previous years that everybody
Exactly.
would stand and
Yeah.
would go around, then we'd go to PK for the blast, and then we'd go around, and nobody would go to the net. And as I said, Radulov will charge in. And one thing that I wouldn't mind seeing maybe them try, okay, you see Gallagher on the power play, but maybe put Shaw on the power play with Gallagher at some
Isn't
point.
he
and
on second unit?
But together, to just
Yeah.
create havoc in front of the net while the shots are coming in. I think that might be something that would be worth maybe trying in the future if they still continue to have problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Mikhail Sergachev was a healthy scratch on Monday night. He's scheduled to be a healthy scratch Wednesday night. What do you think the Habs should do with him?
Send him back.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's got to play.
He's
He
young.
has to play. I don't see the point of, he's going to learn hot dog consumption in Montreal. I mean, he's only 18.
important.
Send him to a place where he can play regularly.
I saw him actually having a hot dog in the intermission at the last game, but he looks happy still. And I think it's sort of you're weighing, you want the kid to play, but you want to give him a little taste of what it's like to be an NHL player.
Of course he was happy. He was having a hot dog.
That's right. But what it's like to travel with them and wear the nice suits and just sort of get used to what it's like to be an NHL player. And then when you do, and I'm sure they will send them back eventually, I think it's just going to make him that much more hungry when he's riding the buses or whatever in Windsor to want to get back up here next year. But I think they send him back to junior, but I really think he'll make the team next year.
It is hard to see the upside to keeping him here. I think this probably was their plan all along, to give him that taste, get him the 9 games before they you burn that first year of your contract if they keep him longer than that. But he's got to be seeing bigger minutes than he's going to see. Even if he stays here, there's no way he's going to be playing the same minutes that he'll be playing with his OHL team, because he has to go there, right? So Yeah, it's been great. I think it's been a good experience for him, and that'll probably help his development. But I don't see the upside to keeping him here at 18 years old. I mean, there's no reason. Everybody knows defensemen take longer to develop, so you might as well give him that chance.
He's so enthusiastic, and perhaps they want to keep him here until Markov teaches him to be taciturn and surly.
He won't be able to do that. This kid is a total opposite of Andrei Markov when it comes to that. But he said an interesting thing because I asked him about the difference in speed between the NHL and junior, and he said, "Well, I really don't know. I'll need to go back to junior to really."
Yeah, well, he just had the one season.
That's right. Know what the difference was. So I think as I said, I think keeping him for a little while longer isn't a bad idea. But he's going to go back, I'm sure.
Do you think they could send him back and then bring him back later on in the season?
No, it's 9 games, and then if he goes back, he's back there to stay. And Windsor's a good team, and Windsor's hosting the Memorial Cup, so he'll definitely be in the Memorial Cup. So there's a lot for him to look forward to this season, if or when he goes back to Windsor.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have. I'd like to thank Mr. Stu Cowan, Mr. Mike Boone, special guest for joining us, Andie Bennett. Thank you for watching at home. My name is Adam Susser. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch us every week, Thursday at 8 a.m. See you next week, Montreal.